How do you remember the Samaritan woman in John chapter 4? Have you always heard she was a lonely outcast, coming to the well at noon to avoid the judgmental eyes of her neighbors? Remarkably, the Bible never actually says she was shunned or hiding. When we look closer at the scriptural evidence, specifically the timing, a completely different truth begins to emerge. John 4 records that Jesus sat by the well at the 6th hour. While many interpret this as 12 noon by Jewish time, we must remember that John wrote his gospel for a broader, often Roman-influenced audience. If we look at John 19, the 6th hour, when Jesus was sentenced clearly aligns with the Roman 6 a.m., when compared to Mark's account. Therefore, the 6th hour at the well was likely 6 p.m., the evening. Visual text of Genesis 24:11. In Genesis 24, evening was the standard time for women to draw water. It makes perfect sense. Jesus was weary after a full day's journey, and the disciples went to buy bread for dinner. She wasn't hiding in the heat of the day, she was there at the usual time for the community. So, why the well? In the Bible, a well is more than just a water source. It is a betrothal-type scene, the traditional place where a groom finds his bride. Compare this to the scene in Genesis 24 where Abraham's servant finds Rebekah for Isaac, the location, an ancient well linked to Jacob's lineage. The timing, evening, when the women come out. The request, both began with the same plea, please, give me a drink. This parallel isn't a coincidence. Just as the servant sought a bride for Isaac, Jesus came to the well to seek his bride, the church. He wasn't just meeting a woman with a complicated past, he was calling his spiritual bride into an eternal covenant. If she were truly a social pariah, would the whole town have rushed out just because she told them to? At 6 p.m., families were home and gathered. When she shouted, "Come see a man who told me everything I ever did," the town followed her. Her history of 5 husbands wasn't brought up to shame her, but to reveal Jesus' divinity. He didn't come to judge her social standing, he stood there as the true bridegroom, fulfilling the ancient patterns of Scripture to call his people to himself. Not the condemnation of high noon, but the grace of 6 p.m. This encounter at the well, moving beyond traditional interpretations, speaks to us today. To those of us seeking to quench our thirst, Jesus offers living water and invites us into his family. Listen closely, the bridegroom is calling.